This is Duke University.
So last year at Durban, which is where the last one of these meetings was held, an agreement was forged at the 11th hour to develop a treaty to replace the Kyoto Protocol, but that will not take place. The agreement to the treaty won't take place until 2015, and the treaty itself will not be implemented until 2020. So one of the major objectives of the meeting here at Doha is to try to develop a transitional strategy between now, or the end of the month when the Kyoto Protocol ends, to a second phase of Kyoto that would lead into the third phase, which is being set up by something called the Durban Platform. So this is not one of the meetings that, in the past, there's been a high degree of tension about whether or not there's going to be an agreement that's going to come out or if the whole system is going to fail. There's still a fair amount of tension here, but it's sort of more down into the details. There is a commitment by the countries, by all the countries, to replace the Kyoto Protocol at some point in the future. And what the delegates are working on now is what that transitional strategy is going to look like. It's often really hard to predict. But usually this is about the time in the game where the team is always 15 points behind. And it may seem like it's impossible to pull out anything that looks like a victory. But normally, and there have been exceptions, and the agreement in Copenhagen, or the lack of agreement in Copenhagen in 2009 is a very stark example of that. But normally the parties figure out a way to come home with some sort of victory at the end. But as I mentioned at the very beginning of my comments, this is not one of the meetings where you expect big cataclysmic events to occur.
Produced by Duke University. Online at duke.edu.